I'd like to start by quoting the words of Dora Tamana, a veteran of South African struggle, whose words inspire the idea of a women's budget. And I quote, "You have no food, speak. You have no homes, speak. You have no jobs, speak. You who have to run like chicken from the vulture, speak." The women's budget is an attempt to ensure that women's voices are heard, that we break the silence and invisibility of women's contribution to society, and in particular to the economy. South African women are not a homogeneous group. Our oppression is mediated by race, class, rural, urban, age, and many other divides. Yet women are the overwhelming majority of the poorest in our country, the majority of the landless, the homeless, the unemployed, the violated. South Africa's women, like women all over the world, have a proud history of not accepting the status of powerless victim. In unrecognized struggles or invisible campaigns, women have continually reclaimed their power. In the face of the worst aggression and excesses of apartheid, capitalist and patriarchal South Africa, women have fought and struggled and wept. But we have also laughed and danced and celebrated our victories. The measure of South Africa's collective success or failure must be measured by change in the life of the woman who wakes at the crack of dawn to collect wood and water, who cleans and cooks and cares, who works for survival wages in industry, in subsistence farming, or in the so-called informal sector, who experiences one of the highest levels of violence in the world. The budget is the most important economic policy instrument of government. As such, it is a potentially powerful tool of transformation. The budget reflects the values of a country, who it values, whose work it values, who it rewards, who and what and whose work it does not. It doesn't require detailed disaggregation to see that the so-called average citizen targeted by apartheid's budget was white, male, and Afrikaans. Yet in South Africa, the average citizen is actually black, poor, and female. Disaggregation exposes how taxation, education, tariffs, trade, industrial relations, etc. impact on women due to their different position in the family and in the economy. Departments will need to table clear reports which show what has or has not changed and for whom. Departments will not be allowed to separate race from gender, or they will say, as some of them have done, that they are making good progress on gender, meaning white women, but not enough on race, meaning black men. Somewhere along that space, that route, black women fell through the space. Departments will need to decide their internal priorities and cost these. The DTI budget, which up until the last budget spent over 50% on subsidizing big business through GEIS, the General Export and Incentive Subsidy Scheme, and only 2% on small, medium, and micro enterprise, will have to ensure that it begins to reach those at the survivalist level, where women are. South Africa faces the challenge of removing many divides in society and in ourselves. Not least of these is the divide between the public and the private that isolates and undervalues the reproductive arena and keeps so much of women's contribution and oppression silent and hidden. As we have begun to engage in the economic debate, we have met dismissive responses which say that issues such as poverty or lack of childcare are irrelevant to the macro level. The mythical neutrality of the economy is difficult to maintain in South Africa. We know, for example, about the invisibility of millions of women in homelands who kept children alive, who, according to the minimum living level statistics, should have been dead. That's wonderful. Thank you very much. You may sit down. I can see there's lots of energy. There are many ideas that can emerge for a discussion if we had the time out of such an exercise. Unfortunately, we don't. I think I'd like to pull out just three. One is the notion of transformative leadership that involves leading and following, and the deepest of respect to be able to listen and to follow closely and to recognize and respect one another. and the potential of each of us to be a leader. The second is to break out of the spaces that we are put in and to begin to redefine for ourselves who we are, to recognize and exercise our power, energy, and ability to take control of our lives. And finally, that women can use their resources well, as you have just done, to engage the budget and the economy. That there is no need for fear, that we can listen and learn from each other, that there are possibilities for laughter and victories between the work and struggle. Thank you very much, and I wish you well.